Okay, so we'll start over. Okay, so you were on Okinawa when they dropped the atomic bomb,
Yeah.
and then
No, see, we went April Fool's Day, and then we April, May, and then you said President Roosevelt died. Did you say the 12th after we landed, April the 12th, 1945. I think it was the 12th Roosevelt died, and we stayed there till, and of course they dropped the first atomic bomb on Nagasaki on August, April, May, June, I think August the 6th, I believe, the first atomic bomb, and I may be wrong on that, but August the 6th, and then August the 9th, Hiroshima, and you said April the 6th, Japanese surrendered. Wasn't that what you said, April the 6th?
we're reading it right here. On August 6th, no.
Nagasaki. August 6th, Nagasaki.
August 6th, the U.S. B-29 dropped a second bomb, an A-bomb, on Nagasaki. Within a week, the Emperor of Hiroshima announced a radio address to the Japanese people his decision to accept the Allies' unconditional surrender terms.
Yeah.
The war was over. No invasion would be necessary.
Dropping the bomb. It ended. Hiroshima was the 6th, and you said Nagasaki the 9th. Is that right? But that pretty well ended the war, but they announced it for surrender later. But they later had something on a boat, final thing on a boat in that harbor, I believe it, in a harbor somewhere, maybe Japan, and where Japan made I got a picture of it somewhere.
See, it says, with Japanese surrender, the Marines assumed the role of peacekeepers in Japan and China. Marines first landed in Japan on the 30th of August, 1945, to liberate Allied prisoner of war camps in the area. Larger Marine forces landed in Nagasaki and Sasebo to disarm and demobilize Japanese forces. The process went smoothly. The enemy troops, so fierce in battle, proved cooperative in surrender. The story was different in North China. The resumption of the Chinese Civil War placed Marine occupation forces at frequent risk. Marines engaged in firefights against Chinese communists for 4 years.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Staging the bloody fighting soon to come in the Korean War. Yeah, that's where you were.
Yeah, I was in China.
So it was a bloody. That was 4 years after the war.
Well, it was. They were tough. The Japs were tough for 4 years during the war. Yeah, before the war. They'd been in China for 4 years before the war ended, and so they had demolished China.
Marines engaged in firefights against Chinese communists for 4 years. Okay.
That's the reason we didn't go to the Great Wall. They told us don't go up there. It was dangerous because you had all those folks that was anti-American.
Says the Japanese captured 2,270 Marines during World War II, seizing most of them in China, Guam, Wake, or the Philippines. Some were survivors of Marine detachments from ships like the cruiser Houston. sunk in the Java Sea. A handful of Marine prisoner of war escaped, but more than 500 died in captivity. Some were murdered, while each of the warring nations committed autocracies, I can't say that, autocracy, I can't even say it. The Japanese treated their captives with exceptional brutality. Japanese troops beheaded the Marine raiders captured at Macon. Japanese officers resorted to cannibalism after killing their imprisoned U.S. aviators in Chichijama.
You know, I can't think of that boy's name, but he may have been in the Marines, but he went to school at Taylor, and he was somewhere where John Black lived, somewhere in that part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And he made it through it. But I talked to him after he got back from war, and he was several years older than me, but they captured him, and they put him in a hole down, like a hole in the ground, and he stayed in there, and they give him a bucket for his kidneys and all, and they'd slosh it all over him when they'd pull it up, drink it. And he lived through all of that. He said it was tough, but he existed. A lot of them died while they was trying to. But I can't think of his name now. I wouldn't never think of that name again. But he got a job at Oxford, and he worked in Oxford, I guess, till he died.
Yeah. Hold on.